We're diving into one of the most talked about and controversial topics circulating online: the speculation surrounding Beyonce and Jay-Z's twins, Rumi and Sir Carter. Over the past few months, the internet has been buzzing with theories, think pieces, and hot takes about their behavior, public appearances or lack thereof, and even claims about their health and development. Now, let me be clear from the jump. This is a sensitive topic involving children, so everything we're discussing today is based on publicly available information, interviews, statements, and fan speculation. But because it's They point out that Rumi's energy doesn't necessarily indicate autism. She could just be a kid excited to be around lights, music, and a crowd. And honestly, that's a completely valid perspective. But on the other hand, there's a growing voice of people who believe that if Sir does have a disability, Beyonce could use her platform to help destigmatize it. They argue that she has the power to be an advocate, not just a megastar, and that opening up about Sir's challenges could help millions of other parents feel seen. Then there's the music. Some fans believe that Beyonce already addressed all of this in her song My Rose, which is rumored to be written for Sir. In the song, she sings, "How many times have you let yourself get down? So many roses, but none to be picked without thorns. Be fond of your flaws, dear. I just hope you love yourself like that." It's a powerful, loving message that some believe is her way of expressing unconditional love for a child who may be facing unseen struggles. Whether or not that's true, it's clear that her children are deeply loved, even if they aren't in the spotlight. Ultimately, here's the real question. Do Beyonce and Jay-Z owe the public an explanation about their son's health or development? Is it fair to demand transparency from people whose literal job is performance and not parenting in public? Or do we, as fans, as a culture, need to take a step back and let children be children without projecting diagnoses, expectations, or theories onto them? Personally, I think it's okay to be curious. Human nature, right? But we have to be careful not to turn curiosity into obsession, especially when it involves young kids who never signed up for any of this. Maybe Sir Carter is autistic. Maybe he's not. Maybe he just doesn't like cameras. Maybe Rumi is neurodivergent. Or maybe she's just a kid with a big personality. Either way, it's not for us to decide. What is for us to do is approach these conversations with empathy, not entitlement. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Should Beyonce be more open about Sir if he has a condition? Or should she keep doing what she's doing, protecting her family's peace and letting her kids grow up privately? As always, keep it respectful down below. These are real people, real children, and real lives we're talking about.